Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Coach, I'm doing lovely here in Atlanta, Georgia. A little cool this morning, but it's all good, man.
Man, maybe we got your weather. It's beautiful up here.
It's 42 degrees, Coach. It's 10:30.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Holy cow. Man, it was chilly this morning, but I'm trying to think because we just got off the practice field and we come in early and then we get out there and some of the guys overdressed. It's 63.
Hey, yeah, it's chilly down here, Coach. I had frost on my window this morning on my grass. So I'm like,
Yeah,
Coach,
no, I
hey,
hear you.
hey, Coach, I don't hide it. I'm not good with cold weather or snow, man. I'm terrible.
Well, you're getting our weather, and I guess we're getting yours right now. So I'm not complaining.
Yes, sir. Coach, got to have you on the show, man. I want to talk to the team, man. I saw you been doing some great work up there, man. I want to make sure I get you on the show. I saw you got a big win, a shutout, so I want to make sure I got connected with you, Coach. I really love the work you do, man.
I appreciate that. We're excited about the season so far, and obviously we've got a lot left and got a big one this week. But we were able to go down to Elon this past weekend and respond from what we did and the result we got the week before. So our guys did a good job focusing up, and it was exciting. All three phases of the game, came together, and we played pretty consistently this past weekend against Elon.
Coach, you have 2 shutouts in 3 weeks, man. Tell me about that. One on the road, one at home, man. Defense is playing really well for you guys. So playing a complete game, like I said, all 3 phases of the game, man, they make you feel really good. And your defense really shutting people down. 2 turnovers again this past weekend. Tell me about that, Coach.
Yeah, no, that was exciting to see. Whenever you can, finish the game and there's a 0 on the board for the opposing team, that's always exciting. Our sports information director, Dean Kennefick, shared with me that that's only the second time in school history that we've had 2 shutouts in the same season. And it's the first time in school history that we've had 2 conference shutouts in the same season. So that's pretty special. And our defense is playing well. Ola Adams, our D coordinator, doing a great job along with all the other guys on that side of the staff. And then, the players are the ones that go out there and get the job done. And we have a lot of experience returning from our team on, from 19, and we didn't have a season, just a abbreviated spring season in 20. But we have a lot of guys back, so we have a lot of maturity at all 3 levels: D-line, linebacker, and the safety position, the defensive back position. So they're playing well. They play good assignment football. They run the ball. We're pretty athletic. We've been pretty opportunistic in the turnover area. We won the turnover battle 2-0 this past weekend, and our guys are doing a really good job on the defensive side. They gang tackle. They intercept the ball when they have the opportunity to do so. We got some pretty good DBs back there with some good ball skills, and it all starts up front. Anyone will tell you that on both sides of the ball. Our D-line do a great job occupying the offensive linemen, so our linebackers can go and make tackles. Our top 3 tacklers on our team are the 3 linebackers that are in the game, and that's what you want. You don't want your DBs leading, team in tackles, because that means they're getting to the 3rd level. Your D linemen are never going to lead the team in tackles. Put some pressure on the quarterback and get some sacks and things of that nature. But our guys up front do a great job, so our linebackers can run and make the plays.
And you got a nice quarterback in Daniel Smith. Tell me about that young man. He can get you on the ground or in the air, man. Tell me about what he's meant to your team this year, man.
Yeah, Dan's really good. He came to us in 19. That was his first year. He graduated from Campbell University in 3 years, and he set records at Campbell as a quarterback for running the ball from the quarterback position and also throwing the ball in the 3 years he was there. And he transferred. He came to us as a grad transfer, and he had a really good season in 2019. Took us to the playoffs. And then, and now because of, COVID, we had an opportunity to get him back for another year. So he's like having a coach out there. He knows where he's going with the ball. He reads the defenses pre and post snap really well. He gets the ball out quick. And as you stated, he can hurt you with his feet. So if there is some pressure, or if we do have some occasional designed runs for him, he can carry the rock as well. So if you look at this past weekend's game versus Elon, 35-0, he accounted really he had a hand in all 5 touchdowns. He had 3 passing touchdowns, and then obviously the 2 short running touchdowns that he had. So he's, like I said, just great to have him back for another year, and great to, have him working with our system and our coordinator, Coach Bowden, just to have the opportunity to get him for that extra season is special.
And kind of mentioned, Coach, that COVID year, giving your team to kind of get older again, or an extra to get older, be in your system another year, learn about this, even get stronger, learn mentally, get better at football. How does it really help a program like yours to have these guys in for one more year, your younger guys too, have them in for one more year to really be old when it counts in the playoffs time?
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example of what our roster looks like. We have 11 guys on our team that are in their 6th year of college. So we've never had 6-year guys before. We got 11 of them right now, guys that graduated 2 springs ago and are now, like Dan Smith is getting his MBA. A lot of guys are getting graduate degrees because they've been here for that extra time. And then we have, Forrest Ryan, our great linebacker, and Malik Fisher and Amin Black and some of the other guys that would not have had a 5th year had we not had COVID because they didn't redshirt. They played as freshmen. So we were able to bring them back. So we have about 6 or 7 guys that wouldn't have been on this 2021 roster had COVID not happened either. So there's a whole gut. So we have 4-year seniors, 5-year seniors, and 6-year seniors, and then as you mentioned, for the young guys, what we were able to do in the spring, even though we only had 4 games, because we had 6 games scheduled, but 2 of them were canceled by the opposing team on us due to, COVID restrictions and so on. So we only got 4 games in, but we were able to play some of our true freshmen. Instead of having 15 days of practice like you normally do in the spring and have a couple inter squad scrimmages to go live against each other, we had 4 real games. And, I think we ended up with 42 total practices in the spring because we're in season, so to speak. So, to give an example of that, we have a redshirt freshman tackle, Temi Ajiratutu, that was forced to start last week. Well, if he was a regular freshman or a regular redshirt freshman, he would have had the amount of work that he had, but he played in those games in the spring. So he was more prepared for when his number was called. Our starting left tackle, one of our 6-year guys, went down 2 weeks ago. So Temi had to be ready to go. And I think the spring really helped his development from that perspective as well. So obviously great to have the older guys for a year longer because they're bigger, stronger, more mature, all those things. But it also helped, as you stated, the younger guys of what we're able to do in the spring and the amount of work they were allowed to get to prepare them for this fall.
And Coach, well, also this transfer portal thing to me, Coach, would help you out a lot, Coach, because I feel like this, man, you have a great program at Villanova. It's a brand name in FCS football. So guys who want opportunity to play it, maybe FBS didn't work out for it, come to play for you as well. Guys who want opportunity to come play for you as well, who kind of play up to that level. So how's it that portal working for your team and your staff recruiting wise going forward, man?
We look at it. We use it as a resource. We're not going to bury our head in the sand and not get involved with the transfer portal. I think it's just the way things are evolving right now in the recruiting world. So I think you have to stay current with the current trends and so on. We've never really been a big transfer team, but we do have some guys that have been, Dan Smith is one I just mentioned to you. Cole Bunce, our place kicker, came from TCU. We're really excited to have Cole. He's the second leading place kicker in the league right now behind Ethan Racky down there at JMU. We have Denzel Williams. He's a starting corner. One of our other starting corners put his name in the portal because he graduated last spring and now he's at Iowa State. So we have Denzel Williams who came to us 2 seasons ago, and he came over from Sacred Heart. And then Mike Ruane graduated from UMass, and he's a linebacker for us. So, we're going to utilize it, and we're going to, look at it as a resource. We're not going to live in there. We're not going to, take all our recruiting classes from the portal, needless to say. But it's something that we'll take a look at and we'll utilize, and we'll see if the need fits and if the person fits and all those things. There's a lot of layers to it when you're trying to get an evaluation on a young man, whether he's coming out of high school or coming from another university. So, but it's something that we will look at and we'll be active with. But like I said, it'll be a need situation. And if we think there's a person there, a lot of times it might be someone that we knew coming out of high school that maybe went in a different direction and then, maybe looking to bounce back or something like that. So it's helped us, needless to say. And I think it'll be something. And to be honest with you, talking with some folks in some of the FBS programs and, talking with some of the scouts that travel through here, looking at a couple of our players for maybe an opportunity at the next level. Right now, there's a lot of programs in the country that because the NCAA allowed you to exceed your scholarship limitations and exceed your roster limitations, but by next year, you have to be back to the allowable number of 85 and 110 on the roster for preseason. There's going to be some more moving parts, I think, because they're going to have some of these FBS guys have an overabundance. They're beyond 85. So where are these guys going to go? So I think the people that are going to suffer the most, to be honest with you, are the high school seniors.
Most definitely.
There's going to be more people taking guys from other universities and colleges, whether they're going up, down, or lateral now. So the high school seniors are going to have a harder time. They're going to have their opportunities, I think, are going to even become more selective and more limited moving forward, at least for the next couple of years.
Well, definitely, Coach. And I'll tell you what, man, I know down here in Georgia, so many guys down here want to play big-time football. So hopefully guys in here and down here will come up there, play for you in Villanova, because I know you got a young man on your lineman on your roster from down here as well. So tell me about recruiting down here in Georgia, trying to find guys on national base, Coach, because but that was national brand. Basketball with Jay Wright is played on the map. And the Nova Care Center, so the Eagles practice at Nova Care Center. So the name Nova is out there for people to know about it. And hey, it's easy to fly from Atlanta to Philadelphia as well.
Right. Well, we use that in recruiting, because some of our opponents, when we're going head to head, maybe in a recruiting battle with a young man, they always throw out there at them, why would you want to go to a basketball school? Why don't you want to come to, our school? We're more of a football school. And what I tell them is that V, as you mentioned, is known nationally. So it's a brand that's going to help you whenever your career is over, whatever sport you're playing, it's going to help you network and get that career and that job when your athletic career is over. So we use it as a positive. We play pretty good football up here. We're in a pretty good league in the CAA. And, so we feel that we can go almost anywhere in the country. Now, you don't have the manpower to cover the whole country, as far as putting a coach in the area and your feet on the ground and, going from school to school. But we have tested the market in Atlanta, and we do have a couple players from Atlanta. And as you mentioned, it's a pretty easy flight, so if you can take a 2-hour plane ride as opposed to a 6-hour drive if you're going somewhere else. And it's pretty easy and convenient to get to. But, we have a couple guys. We have a guy from Alpharetta. We have a guy from Marist. We have a guy from Douglas County, so we have some players down there. So we do actively recruit the Atlanta area now over the last couple of years. And, but like you said, the Villanova brand, whether it be, seeing Villanova basketball on national television 20-some times a year, or maybe even more, because they go to the national championship and win a couple along the way, that helps us. That helps us, because when we walk into a school or walk into a young man's home and have an opportunity to talk with his family, they've heard of Villanova before. We don't have to spend the first half hour explaining who we are, where we are, and what we are. It's kind of a help to us in recruiting. So that's how we spin it. That's how we roll with it. And like I said, we go to Florida a little bit. We go to, Atlanta, and we're now in the Dallas area down in Texas. We have about 5 players coming up from Texas that are on our roster as well as, trying to do our best in our local area of the Northeast corridor and the Mid-Atlantic region.
Coach, don't feel bad. I'll tell you this, Coach. You've been in Villanova longer than I've been alive, man. so tell me about that. You've been 35 years, man. You've been longer than I've been alive, man. So tell me about being in one place that longer, man, and how special it is to be the head coach now after being there for so many years, man.
Well, it's been a blessing, really, and it's been awesome. And as far as how I started really getting into the whole thing, Coach Andy Talley, who was the head coach here from 1984 till 2016, so he did 33 years in the position. I played for him at a small Division III school in upstate New York, St. Lawrence University. So I started coaching right when I graduated with Coach Talley at St. Lawrence. Then I went to Wagner College on Staten Island. Then I went to Lafayette College for a couple of years up there in Easton, Pennsylvania. And then Coach Talley, when he came down here in 84, in 1987, he had an opening on his staff. So he reached out, since I've known him for so long and he's helped mentor me through the process coming up, asked me if I, wanted to rejoin his staff. So I came here in 1987. So the first 4 to 5 years, it was 1 year here, 1 year there, 2 years there. So I was doing the typical coach thing, right? Making moves and not staying anywhere too long. And then I got here and, it just worked, the first 10 years I was here, the first 10 seasons I was here, the whole staff stayed the same. So no one left. We came here, but the majority of us, when we got here, our coaches staff at the time were like in our mid-20s. and then, 10 years later, we're in our mid-30s, we're starting to have families. So some guys, you always get to the crossroads, right? You don't know what year it's going to be, but another opportunity may present itself. And some guys, took the turn. Some guys went off to be Division III head coaches. Some guys went off to be Division I, FBS assistant coaches elsewhere, and so on. A couple of our guys went and did some professional stuff, and every time I got to that intersection, I just stayed with Villanova, and it just worked out. And, fortunately enough, Coach Talley, when it was time for him to retire, I was in position to, be able to take over. So this is my technically my fifth season. We didn't really have that fourth season of 2020. So, but this is my fifth season as the head coach, but like you said, 35 years, and it's just been great. My wife and I talk about it all the time. Each year, prior to recently, each year it's like, maybe this is the year, but it just kept rolling, and we just kept, staying the course, and things were just working well here. Love the school, love the program, love the community, love the ability to go out and recruit for a great program. Recruiting isn't real hard, to be honest with you, to get young men and their families interested in attending here. And then, I have one son, my son, Jim, and he ended up going here. So that kind of locked us in for 4 years. Once I got that free tuition for my son, we weren't going anywhere until he graduated, So,
I hear
that was a nice little perk to have that opportunity to give him. And, and it's just worked out. And now I'm just thankful and blessed to be able to, be the head coach after all those years.
And tell me about how you love your players, man, because I saw interviews about you and how you interact with your players. How they talk about how you're a real guy. You really love them for real. You're a straight up guy. You tell them the truth. You don't lie to them. Tell me about relationship with your players and being out there, almost being your sons as well, because they play for you for us 4 or 5, 6 years. You're their dad on campus. Then after football, you're there at their weddings, when they get new jobs, have children. Tell me about that part of the coaching business that you love, about being with the players, showing them that you really care about them and who they are as young men as well, beyond being football players for you.
Well, to be honest, that's I blanked out there for a minute. Sorry about that. That's why I do what I do, to be honest with you. It's because the relationships you're able to have with the young athletes that you coach from year to year. And, I think that's what coaching is. Coaching is motivating coaches. Coaching is teaching. Coaching and recruiting is building relationships. And, part of being the head coach, one of the things I miss the most is some of those more interpersonal relationships you have with your positional guys, when it's just you and them in your position meeting room. Some of the fondest memories I have, yes, there's some wins and losses that you have pretty vivid memories about and things of that nature, but it's really about the relationships that you build with guys. Like you said, you see someone go on and be so successful, in their careers and with their families, some that get to the next level, some that go out and be great professionals. But the bottom line is we're grooming them to be, great husbands, great fathers, great people in their communities. And that's why I do what I do. And that's what I try to do. I try to have relationships. It's harder as the head coach because it's hard to get around to all 90. As opposed to, when I was coaching the offensive line, I only had 15 dudes in my room that I was with all the time, but that's why I got into coaching in the first place, really, is to have the relationships and opportunities to interact with young men, 18 to 23 years old, and be involved in the game that I love. So I never considered myself working. I never considered it being a job. I don't look forward to Fridays and dread Mondays, and live for the weekends. It's awesome. I just love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and it's all about the players. And that's kind of the approach I've always taken.
My father's a coach. He's 81 years old. He's a coach, and I see guys hit up my dad about stuff, and he just loves it. He eats it up. At 81 years old, he eats it up. Like, coach, I chose radio. I said, Pops, I love sports, but you see, I'm too much of a firecracker to be a coach. I might say the wrong thing. I'm too competitive, coach. I said the wrong thing. So radio-wise, I've been doing radio 11 years, man. So I compete the radio, getting the best guests I can, have good chats. I can chat with you today, having good chats, man. So I love it. But I see my pops, the same thing, man. People text him all the time. Hey, Coach Mac, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. That's my dad loves it. 81 years old. He just gets a kick out of coaching ball at his age still. Keeps him fresh and going, if you ask me.
Yeah, no doubt. Same with my father. My father's 84. And he just retired from being a replay official 2 years ago at 82. So, he's another big reason I think I end up doing what I'm doing, because I saw him. My dad coached us, me and my brothers, in Pop Warner and Little League. And then he coached my brother in high school. And I went to a different high school. So I played against my dad and my brother in high school, which was kind of weird around the dinner table. And then as long as I can remember, he was a referee and a college official. He was an umpire on the field before he moved up to the replay booth, after he got a little older. And like you said, man, it's the relationships you have when he sees people that are, in their 50s and 60s that he coached back in the day, they still call him coach. That's how they referred to him, and like I said, he was doing college officiating and from the field, and then up until the replay booth up until 2 falls ago, right before COVID hit. He was still traveling the country, working for the American Conference, traveling to SMU and Houston and all the places in the American Conference in the replay booth. And, so I saw how much he loved that. He had a regular 9 to 5. And like I said a second ago, he didn't love that part of his life, I don't think. He was a blue collar type worker and, had to go out there and get his hands dirty and put in work. But then he loved the competition on the field, on the weekends. And, I just appreciated that from him. And I think that's, again, kind of one of the main reasons I ended up doing what I'm doing, because I saw how much he loved, the football field and the football game from a coaching and then a refereeing perspective.
Yeah, Coach, I remember being a little ball boy in the field, and people would say, hey, Coach Mack, is that your grandson? That's my son, not my grandson. Because even today, Coach, they'd be like, is that your grandson? That's my son.
Right.
Because he's 81, I'm in my 30s. He's like, is that your... It's like,
I hear you there.
That's my son. It's not my... So my whole life, I've been always going, is that your granddad or is that your... My whole life, but we laugh about it. And it's funny, Coach. It's funny. We together like, that's your granddad? That's my dad.
Right, exactly. Well, man, hey, staying around young people, and like I said, when people ask me all the time, don't you think you need to change? Don't you? And I talk to our young coaches a lot. They come in over the years, even before I became head coaches. Some of the young guys might have an opportunity to move on and so on. And I always tell them it's about building your network. It's about who you know, not what you know sometimes. Get that network going, and that's when you're going to get the opportunities. And I'm a prime example of that. Coach Talley was responsible, really helped me get all the jobs I got. Because when I went from St. Lawrence to Wagner and then Wagner to Lafayette, Coach Russo was the head coach at Lafayette at the time. Coach Hamline was the head coach at Wagner, and Coach Talley obviously was the head coach at St. Lawrence, then moving to Villanova. They all three were on the same staff at Brown University at one point. So it was who he knew that got me in the positions that I was able to get to, along with, I like to think I did a good job once I got those opportunities to continue to move on. But, just being able to be around young people. And I tell the guys all the time, you don't have to change locations to create change. As long as you stay active and current and, in the know of what's going on. And you have automatic change in your team. Now, this year, not as much because we're able to bring so many people back. But every year, you're going to have a graduating class and then another incoming class. So there's change that can happen from within. So I've always been, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And, sometimes you see guys maybe chasing their tail a little bit, but bottom line is, be where your feet are, man, and do the best job you can. And if you do it well enough, you might get opportunities for yourself. And there's been some opportunities, but, again, I've decided to, stay where I was at the time when some of the other opportunities presented themselves, and different strokes for different folks. So things have worked out well for me and my family.
Coach, that's what before you coach this, man. When you come to Atlanta, Coach, what do you love to eat when you're in town down here, man, recruiting a young man that's just in town in general? What is your favorite thing to eat here? What is it, seafood? Is it wings, barbecue? What is it, man?
Right. Well, you know what? I haven't been down there enough to really get around and enjoy all of the specific cuisines that, Atlanta might be known for. I have gone to, what's that place? The Varsity?
Yes, downtown, the Varsity, yes.
Yeah, I've been over there a while back, and we had some conventions in Atlanta. But when I went down there, here's why I say what I'm saying. When I go down there and do a visit in recruiting, I usually go to the home, and I usually don't stay over, or we eat at their house. So, I've been getting some good home cooked meals when I've come to Atlanta, as opposed to, staying in a hotel and trying to go figure out what I'm going to have for dinner on my own. So, But now that I have your contact information, next trip I make down there, before I get there, I'm going to hit you up and you can give me some suggestions.
Yes, I got you, Coach. Rays on the River, Papa Do's, American Deli. I mean, I got places for you, Coach, for days, man. Copeland's, I got you. Wherever you want, Coach.
Okay.
Every cuisine you want to eat, I can tell you
Okay.
about it here in Atlanta.
Okay. Well, you mentioned I'm always good with wings. I love barbecue. I would love to have the seafood that you mentioned, but I can't anymore. All of a sudden, at age like 55, I became allergic to shellfish. I don't know how the heck that happened, but you know. But other than that, yeah, man, I'll hit you up and you can give me some suggestions.
No doubt, Coach. Hey, Coach, it's been so fun talking to you this morning. Hope we do it again with you real soon. Hope you win this week against Stony Brook, and I will talk to you and find you in the playoffs, man.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you having me on. It's good to meet you, and I can tell you're passionate about what you do too. So keep going and keep rolling with it, because like I said, with what you're doing, what I'm doing, I don't feel like I work a day in my life.
It's fun. Never work. It's all fun, Coach. Every day is fun talking to guys like you, man. It's always fun for me, brother.
I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me on, and hopefully I can get down to Atlanta and maybe meet you in person someday.
Yes, sir. I look forward to it.
Okay, now.
See you now.
Bye-bye.